History does not remember the noise of the crowd. It remembers the terrifying, disciplined silence of the man who planned his return while the rest of the world assumed he was finished. You have been quiet lately, and the world has mistaken your silence for defeat. They do not realize that you have not been buried in a grave, but rather you have been planted like a seed in the fertile soil of the unknown, gathering the nutrients of wisdom from your temporary failures. Most individuals drift through life, pushed and pulled by the winds of circumstance, terrified of the year ahead because they have no chart, no compass, and no definite destination. But you are not drifting. You are designing. The year 2026 is not merely a measurement of time that will happen to you. It is a state of mind you have already constructed within the laboratory of your imagination. You must understand that the comeback you are orchestrating is not a matter of luck, nor is it a gamble of chance. It is the inevitable result of a law as immutable as gravity. The law that thoughts, when magnetized by a burning desire and backed by a definite plan, must clothe themselves in physical reality. You have spent enough time in the valley of humiliation. You have tasted the bitter ash of mistakes, and perhaps you have felt the stinging whip of criticism from those who lack the capacity to dream. Good. Let that bitterness serve as the fuel for your transformation. Nature often uses temporary defeat as a tool to strip a man of his arrogance and force him to discover his other self, that hidden power within that recognizes no such reality as impossible. You are not starting over from scratch. You are starting over from experience. The version of you that is coming back is not the same naive child who tried and fell. The version returning in 2026 is hardened, focused, and possesses a definiteness of purpose that is dangerous to mediocrity. Consider for a moment the vast difference between wishing for a better year and demanding one from life. The drifter wishes. He hopes the economy improves. He hopes for a lucky break. He waits for the right time. The master of destiny does not wait for the right time. He creates it. You must clear your mind right now of all fear, all doubt, and all memory of past limitations. Those are merely shadows, ghosts of a dead past that have no power over you unless you grant them a lease in your mental dwelling. The wealth, the influence, and the triumph you seek in the coming year are already yours in the invisible realm. Your only task now is to build the bridge of organized planning across which these riches may travel from the realm of thought into the realm of material fact. But be warned. There is a specific reason why 98 out of every 100 people fail to stage a comeback, even when they have the talent to do so. It is not a lack of opportunity, and it is not a lack of money. It is a subtle, invisible enemy that resides in the subconscious mind, a psychological trap that you have likely been feeding without knowing it. If you do not identify and destroy this mental saboteur immediately, your plans for 2026 will rot before they ever see the light of day. This invisible enemy is the habit of indecision, which eventually crystallizes into the paralysis of doubt. It whispers to you that the gap between where you are now and where you intend to be in 2026 is too wide, too treacherous, and filled with too many variables beyond your control. You must recognize this voice not as wisdom, but as the accumulated debris of a world that has forgotten how to think. To stage a comeback that shakes the earth beneath your feet, you must first close the door to your mind against every influence that does not harmonize with your definite chief aim. You are the master of your fate, but only if you exercise the prerogative to choose your own thoughts. The universe operates on a system of dynamic balance. It does not yield its greatest treasures to the casual wisher. It yields only to the mind that has magnetized itself with a burning desire so intense that it banishes all possibility of retreat. When you look toward 2026, do not see it as a distant horizon. See it as a contract you are signing today in blood and sweat. The person you will be in 2 years is being sculpted by the thoughts you dominate your mind with in this very hour. If you fill your mind with worries about the economy or the opinions of skeptics, you are instructing your subconscious mind to manufacture failure. But if you saturate your consciousness with the absolute conviction of your return, the subconscious acts as a bridge to infinite intelligence, turning your wildest mental blueprints into steel and stone reality. You must understand that thoughts are things, powerful, cosmic forces that are as real as the device you are using to hear these words. Every time you indulge in a thought of weakness, you are broadcasting a signal into the ether that attracts people and circumstances that will keep you weak. Conversely, the moment you truly decide that your comeback is inevitable, you change the vibration of your soul. You begin to attract the resources, the allies, and the opportunities that were previously invisible to you. This is not magic. It is the fundamental mechanics of the mind. The radio does not create the music. It merely receives the station it is tuned to. For the last few years, you may have been tuned to the frequency of struggle. Now, you must turn the dial. Your preparation for 2026 demands that you burn your bridges behind you. There can be no safety net. The great warriors of history won their battles not because they had superior numbers, but because they cut off their own avenues of escape. They placed themselves in a position where they had to conquer or perish. You must adopt this same spirit. You must be willing to stake your entire future on your ability to deliver value to the world. A man who enters the arena with one eye on the exit has already lost. You must enter with both eyes fixed on victory, utterly deaf to the possibility of defeat. However, as you begin to realign your mind and formulate your plan, a strange and often terrifying phenomenon will occur. It happens to every man and woman who dares to rise above the crowd. Just as you gain momentum, just as the vision becomes clear, the universe will send a wave of resistance so strong it will threaten to crush your newfound resolve entirely. This is not a sign to stop. It is the most critical test of your life, and almost everyone fails it because they do not understand what is actually happening behind the scenes. And this resistance you encounter is not a signal to retreat. It is the universal sifting process. Nature employs this mechanism to separate the drifters from the doers, the wishers from the winners. When the path to 2026 becomes steep and the air grows thin, understand that you are being tested to see if your desire is a mere wish or an all-consuming obsession. Persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. Without it, your plans are brittle and will shatter at the first sign of adversity. But with it, you become unstoppable. The universe cannot deny a man who refuses to accept no for an answer, for the very law of rhythm that governs the tides and the seasons eventually aligns itself with the individual who stands firm. You are constructing a new reality for 2026, but you cannot build a skyscraper without a blueprint, and you cannot accumulate great power without organized planning. A goal that is not written down is merely a delusion. You must take the chaotic energy of your desire and crystallize it into a definite, practical plan of action. It does not matter if your plan is not perfect at first. What matters is that you begin. Action generates the heat required to mold the clay of circumstance. If your first plan fails, replace it with a new one. If that fails, replace it again. The only time you are truly defeated is when you quit seeking a new plan. This is the secret of every great industrialist and leader who has ever lived. They did not possess more luck than you. They simply possessed more resilience in the reformulation of their plans. Furthermore, you must realize that power, real, tangible power, is required to drive your comeback. Power is organized effort, and organized effort is produced through the coordination of two or more minds working toward a definite end. You may have walked alone in your valley of defeat, but you cannot climb the mountain of success in isolation. You must seek out the mastermind, the alignment with other intelligences that vibrate in harmony with your own. This does not mean you must share your deepest secrets with the unworthy. It means you must surround yourself, physically or through the study of great works, with the energy of success. If you remain in the company of those who accept poverty and mediocrity as their lot, you will unconsciously absorb their limitations. As you move toward 2026, you are engaging in the highest form of alchemy, the transmutation of energy. You are taking the raw emotions of your past, the anger, the disappointment, the fear, and redirecting them into a laser-focused beam of creative effort. This energy is volatile. If you do not direct it toward your chief aim, it will turn inward and destroy you. But if you harness it, if you let that pressure build behind the dam of your persistence, it will generate enough power to light up a city. Yet, even with a plan, even with persistence, and even with the aid of a mastermind alliance, there remains one final, formidable barrier. It is a locked door that stands between you and the realization of your vision for 2026. Most people stand before this door for a lifetime, knocking politely, waiting for someone to open it, never realizing that they hold the key in their own pocket. This key is dangerous, for once you insert it into the lock and turn it, there is no going back to who you used to be. The price of opening this door is something few are willing to pay because it demands the total sacrifice. The price demanded for opening this door is the total sacrifice of your alibis. You must surrender, once and for all, the comforting addiction to your own excuses. For years, you may have carried a mental list of reasons why you have not yet arrived. The economy was poor, your education was lacking, your family did not support you, or the timing was wrong. To walk into 2026 as a conqueror, you must take this list of alibis and burn it on the altar of your ambition. Nature recognizes no excuse. The world does not care why you failed. It only cares that you succeeded. You cannot have both your excuses and your triumph. You must choose one, and you must choose it now. Once you discard the crutch of blame, you force your subconscious mind to find solutions instead of escape routes. This is where the principle of autosuggestion becomes your most lethal weapon. You must understand that your subconscious mind is a fertile garden that accepts any seed you plant within it, whether that seed is a poison weed of fear or a towering oak of abundance. Up until this moment, you may have allowed the weeds of the world's negativity to grow wild. Now, you must stand guard at the gate of your mind. You must repeat your definite chief aim with such emotional intensity that you convince your own subconscious that you have already succeeded. This is not self-delusion, it is psychological architecture. When you convince your subconscious mind that your comeback in 2026 is a present fact, it begins to communicate with infinite intelligence. It aligns the molecules of your reality to fit the picture you hold in your head. You must walk, talk, and act as though the victory is already won. The world has a habit of making room for the man whose words and actions show that he knows exactly where he is going. If you walk with hesitation, the crowd will trample you. If you walk with authority, the crowd will part for you. However, do not make the mistake of thinking that mental attitude alone is enough. There is a law of economics as rigid as the law of gravity, the law of compensation. You cannot get something for nothing. The wealth and recognition you demand from 2026 comes with a price tag, and that price is the service you render to your fellow man. You must adopt the habit of going the extra mile. You must render more service and better service than you are paid to render, and you must do it with a pleasing mental attitude. If you try to cheat life by withholding your best effort, life will cheat you by withholding its best rewards. But if you pile up a great debt of service against the world is compelled by natural law to pay you back with compound interest. You are standing on the precipice of a new era. The old version of you is dying, and a new master is taking the helm. But there remains one final explosive component to this transformation. It is the catalyst that turns plans into gold and dreams into empires. Without this final element, all your planning, all your desire, and all your knowledge will remain dormant like a powerful engine with no spark to ignite the fuel. It is a secret so profound yet so often overlooked that it constitutes the difference between those who merely dream of a comeback and those who actively shape history. You are about to receive the final command, the spark that ignites the engine, but to wield it, you must be prepared to make a vow that you will never break the fountain. The final spark, the catalyst that ignites the engine of your destiny, is the dynamic principle of applied faith. It is not enough to simply believe. You must act with the absolute, unshakable confidence that the universe has no choice but to deliver what you demand of it. The vow you must make today is the vow of self-discipline. You must command yourself to do the things you know you should do, when you ought to do them, whether you feel like it or not. This is the master key that unlocks the door to personal power. Without it, you are a drifting ship without a rudder. With it, you are a force of nature that bends the elements to your will. As you march toward 2026, you will possess a keenness of mind that others lack. You will utilize your sixth sense, that creative imagination which taps into the storehouse of infinite intelligence. While the masses are distracted by the petty dramas of the day, you will be receiving flashes of inspiration, hunches, and ideas that will serve as the stepping stones to your fortune. Do not ignore these flashes. They are telegrams from the invisible, guiding you toward the path of least resistance and greatest accumulation. You are no longer a prisoner of your past. You are the architect of your future. The failures of yesterday were merely the tuition you paid for the wisdom you possess today. You have stripped away the fear, you have burned the alibis, and you have formulated a definite plan. The world may look at you now and see only who you were, but you look in the mirror and see who you are becoming. There is a lag time between the planting of the seed and the harvest, and you are in that season of invisible growth. Let the skeptics sleep. Let the critics talk. Their noise is merely the sound of their own limitations rattling against the bars of their self-imposed cages. When 2026 arrives, it will not be met with a whimper, but with the thunderous arrival of a vision fully realized. You will stand atop the mountain you are currently climbing, and you will look back at this moment, this very moment of decision, as the turning point where the boy died and the man was born, or where the dreamer awoke and became the builder. The wealth you seek, the peace of mind you desire, and the legacy you intend to leave are already waiting for you in the great unseen ether. They are waiting for you to reach out with calloused hands and a burning heart and claim them. The time for preparation is drawing to a close. The time for execution is upon you. You have the map, you have the compass, you have the engine. Now you must take your hand off the brake and push the throttle to the floor. Do not look back, for there is nothing behind you worth more than what lies ahead. Disappear into your work so completely that the world forgets you exist, until the day you reemerge and force them to ask how you did it. 2026 is not coming for you. You are coming for it. Go and take what is yours.